AITA for getting revenge after my parents backed my cheating ex, who left me for my cousin. I, Derek, a 28-year-old man, met Brielle, a 27-year-old woman, at a friend's barbecue. She was smart, funny, and beautiful. She had her own career as a physical therapist, her own apartment, her own life. We connected immediately. I remember that first night we talked for 3 hours straight, sitting on the back porch while the others played beer pong inside. She told me she grew up without a mom, that she paid for school herself, and that she built her practice from scratch. I felt like I had finally met someone who understood, someone who valued hard work. Within 6 months, we were practically living together. Within a year, we were already talking about marriage. I had already chosen the ring. I planned to propose to her at Christmas. I had everything planned out. Take her to the botanical gardens that they decorate with lights every year and propose in front of her favorite fountain. A friend was going to hide in the bushes to take photos. It was going to be perfect. My family adored her. My mom was already picking out grandma names. My dad taught her how to use his smoker to make brisket. They spent entire Saturdays perfecting the technique to get the perfect bark. Even Sienna seemed to genuinely like her, which was rare because Sienna is usually pretty competitive with other women. Normally, she always finds something to criticize, like if a girl laughs too loud, or if she tries too hard, whatever. But with Brielle, she seemed genuinely happy for me. Everything was perfect, or so I thought. Enter Carter, 29 years old, my cousin on my dad's side. Carter has always been a mess. He dropped out of college in his sophomore year. He has worked random jobs. He has never kept anything for more than a year, but he has that lovable mess charm that makes people want to help him. He's attractive, knows how to talk, and has that ability to make his problems sound like temporary setbacks rather than a pattern of bad decisions. The kind of person who asks to borrow $50 and manages to make you feel good about lending it to him. Last year, Carter showed up at Thanksgiving saying he had been evicted and needed a place to stay for just a couple of weeks. My dad, who is a softie, let him move into the guest room. That room had actually been my old bedroom. Some of my things were still in the closet. Those couple of weeks turned into months. Carter occasionally helped my dad with house repairs, which my dad counted as rent. He literally lived there for free, ate their food, used their utilities, and contributed maybe 5 hours of work a week. Meanwhile, I was sending my parents $2,000 a month, and Carter wasn't contributing a cent. This is where everything starts to get ugly. Brielle started spending more time at my parents' house. She loved hanging out with my mom, helping her cook, doing all that bonding with the future in-laws. I thought it was sweet. My mom taught her family recipes. They had these long conversations about life. Brielle said she felt like she was finally having the mother-daughter relationship she never had. Her own mother died when she was young. She would text me photos of what she and my mom were baking. She sent me videos of my dad teaching her how to smoke a brisket. I felt like she was becoming part of the family in the best way possible. But Brielle wasn't just bonding with my mom. She was also getting very close to Carter. At first, I didn't notice, or maybe I noticed and didn't want to see it. But now, looking back, the signs were everywhere. She mentioned Carter a lot. Carter told this funny story. Or Carter needs someone to drive him to a job interview. I said I would take him. She started dressing up more when she went to my parents' house. She would do her hair and makeup just to help my mom with dinner. I would arrive to pick her up, and she was laughing with Carter in the garage, standing a little too close. My sister even commented on it once. We were at Sunday dinner, and Brielle stepped out to take a work call. Sienna leaned toward me and said quietly, "Brielle and Carter have been getting pretty touchy-feely lately." I laughed it off. Carter was my cousin. Brielle was my girlfriend. The idea of anything happening seemed ridiculous to me. "They're just friends," I said. Sienna looked at me like she wanted to say something else, but then Brielle came back, and the moment passed. 3 months ago, everything fell apart. I was supposed to meet Brielle for dinner after work. I had been putting in absurd hours on a big project, trying to meet a deadline for a promotion I had been working toward for over a year. She had been understanding about it. Or at least, that's what she said. "You're building our future," she told me. I get it. So I worked late, sometimes until 9 or 10 at night, while she stayed at my parents' house or went out for drinks with friends. That particular night, I finished early and decided to surprise her at her apartment with takeout from her favorite Thai restaurant. I texted her that I was working late so she would order something and not be waiting for me. I wanted it to be a real surprise. I bought pad Thai. She loved the spring rolls. I even treated myself to the expensive mango sticky rice for dessert. I used my key, walked in, and heard noises coming from the bedroom. You know where this is going. The television wasn't on, and those sounds definitely weren't coming from a show. My brain did that weird thing where it tries to rationalize what it's hearing. Maybe she was watching something on her phone. Maybe she had a friend over, and they were laughing at something. But deep down, I knew. I found them in her bed. In my girlfriend's bed. Carter was desperately trying to put on his jeans that were on the floor. Brielle was pulling up the sheets, her face going from a post-sex flush to pure terror in about 3 seconds. There was a bottle of wine on the nightstand, 2 glasses. Her clothes were thrown in a path from the bedroom door to the bed. The craziest thing is that I didn't scream, I didn't break anything. I just stood there with a bag of pad thai and spring rolls and said, huh. Brielle started crying immediately. Baby, it's not what it looks like. Oh no. I interrupted her. Then what does it look like? Because it looks like you're sleeping with my cousin in your bed. Is there some other interpretation I'm missing? Carter, to his credit, at least had the decency to look ashamed. He was struggling with his shirt. He couldn't put it on right. The sleeves were tangled. He mumbled something like, it just happened, and tried to leave, but I blocked the exit. No, you're not just going to leave like that, I said. My voice was strangely calm, as if I were commenting on the weather. You're going to stand there and explain to me how this just happened. Bro, I'm sorry, Carter started. Since when? I asked Brielle, ignoring him completely. She couldn't look at me. She stared at the crumpled sheets in her hands. 2 months. 2 months. While I was working my butt off to get the promotion that would have allowed us to buy a house together. While she was texting me, I love you. I can't wait to see you tonight. Knowing she was seeing Carter on her lunch breaks. While I was looking at engagement rings and planning the perfect proposal, the details came out over the next hour. They started talking more when she was at my parents' house. He had helped her with a problem with her car, of course. Carter told her she deserved someone who paid more attention to her, who wasn't always working. One thing led to another. They met at her apartment when I worked late, at hotels when they wanted to be more careful, even once at my parents' house when everyone was at work and they had the house to themselves. That last detail hit me like a punch in the gut. In my childhood home, in the place where I grew up, where my mom taught Brielle her recipes, where my dad showed her his smoking technique. They had defiled that, too. I never wanted to hurt you, Brielle repeated. I just felt so lonely. You were always working, and Carter was there, and he made me feel special. I was working for us, I said, for our future, for the house we were going to buy. I know, but there is no but. You slept with my cousin for 2 months in this bed that I helped you choose, with the sheets I bought you as a birthday gift. Carter tried to play the victim. I've never had what you have, bro. You've always had everything under control. Just for once, I wanted something good. I actually laughed. So you decided to keep my girlfriend. That's your version of something good? She wanted to be with me. Get out, I told him. Get out of here before I forget we're family. He left. Brielle tried to stop me from leaving, saying we needed to talk about this, that she could explain, but I was done. I left the Thai food on her kitchen counter and walked out. I drove to my condo, sat in the living room, and just processed everything. The next day, I called my parents to tell them what had happened. I wanted to get ahead of whatever version Carter and Brielle might tell. Besides, I thought they should know, considering they had welcomed Brielle as part of the family and Carter was living under their roof, rent-free. My mom answered. I told her the story exactly as it was. I found them together in bed. The relationship is over. I'm done with both of them. I expected her to be in shock, to be angry for me, to immediately tell Carter to pack his bags. You know what my mom said? Well, Carter has been going through a very hard time. I'm sure he didn't mean to hurt you. I literally pulled the phone away from my ear and looked at it like it was broken. Did you hear what I just said? He was sleeping with Brielle. With my Brielle. I heard you, honey. But Carter has always been sensitive, and you know how he gets when he's stressed. He makes bad decisions. Oh, right. So sleeping with his cousin's girlfriend is just his way of handling stress. Good to know. Just one of those little oopsies we all make when life gets tough. Mom, this wasn't a bad decision. It was a betrayal. He knew we were together. He lived under your roof, the same roof I helped pay for. He was at our family dinners, pretending to be supportive while he was sleeping with her behind my back. That phrase, family is family, I had heard it all my life. Usually when Sienna screwed up, and I was expected to be understanding. Now it was being used to justify Carter literally sleeping with my girlfriend. My dad got on the phone and at least said he was sorry this happened to me, but even he dropped it. Carter made a mistake. We're family. We have to forgive and move on. Maybe in a few months, when everyone is calmer, you guys can talk it out. Forgive and move on. Talk it out. As if this were a minor argument over some borrowed tools. Talk about exactly what? I asked. What is there to discuss? The fact that he was with my girlfriend for 2 months? The timeline of their betrayal? The positions they used? There's no need to be vulgar, said my mom. I'm not being vulgar. I'm being realistic. There is nothing to talk about. I am done with Carter, and I am done with Brielle. You're upset now, but with time, I'm magically going to forget that my girlfriend cheated on me with our cousin, that my own family believes his feelings matter more than mine. But hey, I thought at least I would have Sienna on my side. She had always had that protective instinct. She always called out whoever messed with the family. I called her next. Hey, I heard about Brielle, she said when she answered. That sucks, bro. Yeah, it really does. But honestly, if Brielle wasn't happy with you, at least she found someone who makes her feel alive. I mean, you were always working. Maybe this is a wake-up call about work-life balance. I hung up on her. I spent the next week in a fog. I went to work, came home, ordered delivery, and stared at the wall. My best friend Logan texted me constantly to see how I was, but I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to hear more people tell me to look on the bright side, or learn from the experience, or whatever else people say when they want you to get over something that destroyed you. A week later, Carter and Brielle made it official on Facebook. They posted a whole cheesy photo of them kissing with a caption about, when you know, and sometimes love finds you when you aren't looking. As if they were an adorable romantic story and not two people who had been cheating on me for months. The caption Carter wrote was especially irritating. Life has a funny way of bringing people together. When you find someone who understands you, who sees you for who you really are, you have to follow your heart. Here's to new beginnings and finding love in unexpected places. The comments were full of people who didn't know the story, saying how cute they looked, how happy they seemed. Congrats on finding love. My Aunt Denise commented, beautiful couple, with 3 heart emojis. My cousin Sarah wrote, finally, Carter, so happy for you guys. My sister liked it. My mom liked it. Even one of my aunts commented with hearts. Everyone was publicly celebrating a relationship that started with my girlfriend cheating on me with my cousin. I blocked them both everywhere. I blocked Carter. I blocked Brielle. I blocked anyone who had liked or commented on that post. In fact, I deleted my Facebook entirely. I just needed to not see any of it. I threw myself into work for the next 2 months. I got the promotion I had been fighting for, senior engineer, with a $40,000 raise. I didn't even tell my family because, honestly, I barely spoke to them anyway. What for? So they could congratulate me and then ask how this situation with Carter was going, as if it were a small, unimportant family conflict? There's something I haven't mentioned yet. For the last 5 years, I had been financially supporting my parents. When I got my first real job after college, I started sending them $500 a month to help with bills. With every raise and promotion, that amount went up. By the time Brielle and I broke up, I was giving them $2,000 a month. The mortgage payment, part of the car insurance, food, utilities, whatever was needed. I increased the amount last year when my dad had medical expenses for a back injury. I increased it again when property taxes went up. They never asked me directly. I just started doing it because I knew they struggled, and I finally had the means to help. It made me feel good to be able to take care of them after everything they had sacrificed for Sienna and me growing up. I felt like I could finally give something back after so many years of watching them stress about money. $2,000 a month for 5 years. That's $120,000. $120,000 that I gave them, not loaned, gave. I never expected them to pay me back. I never held it over their heads. I just quietly transferred it on the first of every month, like clockwork. And they couldn't even take my side when their nephew betrayed me with my girlfriend. Still, I kept sending the money. Even while they liked Carter and Brielle's posts. Even while my mom texted me telling me I had to learn to forgive and that Carter was going through a very hard time because of the guilt. You should talk to him, she wrote. I kept automatically transferring $2,000 to their account on the first of every month. Part of me felt like an idiot for doing it, but another part couldn't let them struggle, even after they had chosen Carter over me. That's what spending years as the responsible one does to you. You remain responsible even when no one appreciates it. Then came Sienna's Instagram post. I hadn't blocked Sienna on Instagram because she barely used it, but one day I was scrolling and saw a post of hers from the week before. It was one of those deep posts with a curated aesthetic, a pretty sunset background with text over it in a cursive font. The text said, "Cheaters deserve second chances. People make mistakes. True love means forgiving. Stop being resentful and allow people to grow." My mom had liked it. My dad had liked it. 6 of my other relatives had liked it. There were comments from family friends saying, "So true," and very mature perspective. I stared at the phone for probably 20 minutes. I read it over and over, trying to understand how my own sister could post something like that, knowing what I had gone through, knowing that I was still dealing with the consequences of Carter and Brielle's mistake. The nerve was impressive. The complete lack of awareness. Or maybe it was full awareness, and she simply didn't care at all how I felt. Then I opened my banking app and canceled the automatic transfer to my parents. I scheduled an email to be sent at 8 a.m. the next morning, right when the deposit would normally have been made. The email was short. "Mom and Dad, I have been thinking a lot about Sienna's recent post about second chances and forgiveness. You both liked it, so I assume you agree with her philosophy. I also believe in second chances, so I'm giving you one. A second chance to pay your own bills like you did before I started helping you 5 years ago. Effective today, my monthly contribution of $2,000 is permanently canceled. I fully trust that you will be able to manage just as you did before I started sending money. Also, Sienna is right that people make mistakes. Carter and Brielle made a mistake for 2 months straight. I made the mistake of thinking my family would have my back when I was betrayed by people I loved. We all deserve second chances to learn from our mistakes. With love, your son, who apparently needs to learn to forgive and stop being resentful." I sent it. I went to sleep and slept like a baby for the first time in months. My phone started ringing at 8:32 a.m. Mom's name appeared on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. She called again and again, 12 times in a row, before switching to texts. Finally, I sent her a text. "Can't talk. I'm in a meeting." She replied, "Call me right now. This is important." I put the phone on Do Not Disturb and went on with my day. I had real meetings at work, but even if I hadn't, I wasn't in the mood to deal with the crisis that, according to them, justified calling me 12 times. By lunchtime, I had 23 missed calls from my mom, dad, Sienna, and even my Aunt Marjorie, the same one who had commented hearts on Carter and Brielle's post. The voicemails were something else. The first from Mom. "Honey, I don't know what's happening, but the money didn't arrive today. Can you check your bank? It must be some mistake." The third from Mom. "This isn't funny. We have bills to pay. Please call me. Your father's mortgage is due on the 5th. The 7th from Dad. "Son, I know you're upset, but this isn't the way to handle things. Call us. We have to talk." The 10th from Sienna. "Are you serious? You're doing this to Mom and Dad over a breakup? Grow up. This is so childish. They didn't do anything to you." The 15th from Aunt Marjorie. "Your mother called me crying. What is going on? Why did you cut them off? They're your family." I didn't answer any of them. That night, I finally called them. All 3 were at my parents' house when I made the video call. "Oh, thank God," said Mom immediately. "We've been trying to reach you all day." "I know. I was busy. You got my voicemails?" "The payment didn't go through." "It wasn't supposed to," I said. Silence. I saw their faces on the screen. My mom's mouth opening and closing, my dad leaning forward like he hadn't heard right, Sienna in the background with a confused look on her face. "What do you mean?" my dad finally asked. "I mean I canceled it. I'm not sending money anymore." My mom's face went white. "You can't do that. We need that money. The mortgage is due next week. The car insurance. The bills. You'll figure it out. You did before I started helping." "That was different," she said, her voice rising. "We were younger, we earned more. Carter wasn't living here." "Ah, so Carter living here for free is my responsibility to fund." More silence. Sienna entered the frame with her arms crossed. "This is so petty. You're punishing them because you're mad about Brielle." "No, Sienna, I'm following your advice. You said people deserve second chances. I'm giving mom and dad a second chance to handle their finances like adults. That's not what I meant, and you know it. Then what did you mean? Because from where I stand, you posted that right after our cousin started dating my ex-girlfriend of 3 years. Mom and dad liked it. So clearly they believe Carter and Brielle deserve understanding and support. Yes, Mom said quietly. They're family. Relationships are complicated. You can't just erase people because they made a mistake. And what about me? Am I not family? What do you mean? What about you? She said. Of course you're family. I'm family too, but I'm the one who gets discarded. I'm the one who has to forgive and forget and be understanding, while Carter lives in your house for free after betraying me. My dad finally spoke up. You have to understand. No, Dad, you guys have to understand. I have given you $120,000 in 5 years. When I found out my girlfriend was cheating on me with a member of our own family, you told me I had to forgive Carter because he's sensitive and going through a hard time. When Sienna posted that cheaters deserve second chances, you guys liked it. You literally supported the idea that what they did to me wasn't a big deal. That's not fair, said Mom, with tears forming in her eyes. We never said it wasn't serious. You didn't need to say it. You showed me. You took his side. You let Carter keep living in your house. You celebrated his new relationship, and you told me to learn to forgive while my money funded his comfortable, free life. So, you're just going to cut us off? Said Sienna. Over hurt feelings? You're going to let Mom and Dad lose the house because your girlfriend dumped you? I actually laughed. Hurt feelings? That's what you think this is. And what else would you call it? How about betrayal? How about realizing that my family values my cousin's feelings more than mine? How about discovering that for my parents, $2,000 a month is less important than remaining neutral in a situation where neutrality shouldn't exist? Life isn't black and white, said Dad, using his disappointed father tone. These situations are complicated. Carter made a mistake, yes, but cutting off our financial support isn't going to fix anything. You're right. Life isn't black and white. But one thing is, either you have my financial support and you take my side when a family member betrays me, or you stay neutral and pay your own bills. You chose to be neutral. Now it's your turn to pay your own bills. Where is all this coming from? Asked Mom, crying even more. This isn't you. You've always been so generous, so understanding. What happened to you? I learned from the best. Carter made a decision that hurt me, and you guys were understanding. So I'm making a decision that hurts you, and you guys can be understanding about that, too. That's not the same, Sienna interrupted. Why not? Didn't you say people make mistakes? I made the mistake of financially supporting parents who chose a nephew over their own son. Now I'm correcting that mistake. Dad tried another approach. What do you want from us? An apology? We apologize. We're sorry, but you can't just abandon us like this. I want what I've always wanted, for my family to back me up. But that ship sailed when you let Carter keep living in your house after what he did, when you liked Sienna's post, when you told me I had to be more forgiving. You already made your decision. Now I'm making mine. Carter has nowhere to go, Dad said desperately. Not my problem. He's your nephew, and Brielle was my girlfriend. That didn't stop him. And the fact that he's my cousin didn't stop you guys from taking his side, either. Sienna's face was red. You're really going to do this? You're really going to let our parents suffer because you can't handle a breakup like an adult? Sienna, do me a favor. Post something on Instagram about how adults handle financial independence. I'm sure Mom and Dad will like that, too. I hung up before anyone could respond. The next few days were absolutely crazy. I received messages from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. Apparently, the rumor that I had cut off financial support to my parents spread fast. Aunt Marjorie, your mother is crying. How could you do this to her? Cousin Logan, I thought you were better than this, man. You. And Clee Raymond. Bro, that's cold, even for a bad breakup. They're your parents. I'm very disappointed in you right now. Family takes care of family. Even my grandmother called. Honey, I raised your father better than to abandon his parents. What would your grandfather say? I sent the same reply to everyone. If you're so worried about their financial situation, feel free to send them money yourselves. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Absolute silence after that. Funny how everyone had an opinion on what I should do, but no one was willing to help themselves. A week later, Dad called, just him this time. Can we talk? Just you and me. No Sienna, no your mother. Man to man. I agreed to meet him at a diner halfway between my house and theirs. He looked tired when he walked in, older somehow than the last time I had seen him. Hair grayer, more wrinkles around his eyes. He had lost weight, too. Your mother and I have been talking, he started after we ordered coffee. Uh-huh. We don't have the money to cover everything without your help. We're going to have to make some difficult decisions. Like what? Like telling Carter he has to find another place to stay? I took a sip of my coffee. That's a start. We also talked to Sienna. She's going to start paying rent. $500 a month. How much? $500. I did the math mentally. That's still $1,500 less than what I was giving you. We know. We're going to have to cut back on other things. We're canceling cable. We're looking at cheaper cell phone plans. Your mother is going to have to go back to working full-time instead of part-time. He grimaced. And the payments for Sienna's college loan. We can't pay those anymore either. We're going to see if we can defer them or get on an income-based repayment plan. Her credit is going to take a hit. Wow. We sat in silence for a minute. The diner was almost empty, just us and an older couple in a corner. The waitress came by to refill our coffee, and Dad waited for her to leave before continuing. I'm sorry, he said finally, his voice raspy. I didn't realize how much we had hurt you. Your mother and I, we didn't want to take sides. We thought we were keeping the family together. That's the point, Dad. Sometimes, not taking sides is taking a side. When you stayed neutral, you told me that Carter's feelings were worth just as much as mine, even though he was the one who betrayed me. We thought we were doing the right thing. For who? For Carter? Because it certainly wasn't the right thing for me. You guys kept Carter. You lost me. He looked down at his coffee. I know. And I hate that. I hate that I made you feel like you weren't important to us. So why did you do it? He was quiet for a long time. Finally, he looked up with a defeated expression. Because Carter has always been the one who needs help. You've always had everything under control. We didn't think you needed us in the same way he does. We just thought you'd be okay, because you always have been. And there it was. The truth I had known all my life, but never heard out loud. I was expected to be okay just because I always had been. They punished me for my competence, forcing me to be even more responsible. So I get punished for being responsible, I said. That's not, he started, but I raised my hand. Dad, I love you, but I am done being the one who always has to understand. I'm done being the one who has to suck it up because everyone else needs more support. I spent $120,000 helping you guys because I wanted to, because I love you. But you showed me that in this family, my money matters more than my actual feelings. That Carter's comfort matters more than my pain. That's not true. Then why did it take a financial crisis for you to finally ask Carter to leave? Why didn't you kick him out the second you found out what he did? Why did you like Sienna's post about forgiving cheaters? He had no answer for that. I'll tell you why, I continued. Because as long as I was paying the bills, you guys could afford the luxury of protecting him. My money made it possible for him to stay there for free, eating your food, using your utilities. I was literally funding his comfortable life while he was sleeping with Brielle. My money enabled his betrayal. Dad's face went pale. I had never looked at it that way. Well, now you have all the time in the world to think about it. I left $20 on the table for the coffee and walked out. Over the next month, I started hearing through the family gossip mill about the changes at my parents' house. The rumor network was still alive, even though I no longer participated. Carter moved out, not because they kicked him out, but because Sienna's $500 rent meant they could no longer support an extra mouth. He went to live with some friends on the other side of town and got a job at a warehouse. Apparently, he and Brielle broke up 2 weeks after he moved out. Surprising no one. A relationship built on betrayal has no solid foundation. Turns out, when the thrill of sneaking around is gone and you're left with just 2 people who hurt others to be together, there isn't much left. I heard from my cousin Logan that Carter had tried to call me from different numbers, but I had blocked them all. He even tried to show up at my work one day, but building security didn't let him up without my authorization. Sienna was furious about having to pay rent. She posted something on Instagram about how some people value money more than family, which I'm sure was directed at me. That lasted 3 months before she moved in with a boyfriend I had never heard of. Apparently, she couldn't handle paying $500 a month plus her own bills and maintain her latte lifestyle. My mom went back to work full-time. My dad took on extra repair jobs on weekends, advertising in local Facebook groups. I heard from Aunt Marjorie again. What really got to me was finding out that several relatives who had called me the villain had been contacted by my parents for loans, and they had all said no. The same people who had opinions on my decisions couldn't lend $500 to help, but they had plenty of advice on what I should do. Uncle Raymond, the one who said family takes care of family, told my parents he couldn't help because he was short on cash. Aunt Marjorie said she would love to help, but with Christmas so close. The hypocrisy was almost impressive. 3 months after cutting off support, I received an unexpected call from Sienna. "I'm sorry," she said bluntly. I almost dropped the phone. "What?" "I'm sorry. I didn't understand before. I thought you were exaggerating, being dramatic, holding a grudge over nothing. But I've been thinking a lot about this. And if someone did to me what Brielle and Carter did to you, I would lose my mind. And if Mom and Dad took that person's side, I would be devastated." "What made you change your mind?" "Because now I'm paying rent, dealing with my own bills, and working full-time. I finally understand how much you did for them. And I realized that you did all that while also building your own life, saving money, planning for the future. And they just took it for granted. They took you for granted." It was the most mature thing I had ever heard her say. "I also spoke to Brielle," she continued. "Why?" "Because I wanted to understand what happened. I ran into her at Target a few weeks ago. She looks terrible, by the way. We ended up having coffee, and she told me everything. How Carter pursued her, how she knew it was wrong but felt like you didn't care anymore because you were always working. How they both convinced themselves that you didn't really love her because you weren't around enough. That's nonsense." "I know." I told her exactly that. "You were working your tail off for your future together. You were being responsible and planning for the long term. And she took that dedication and twisted it into neglect. And you know what she said? She said she regretted it. That being with Carter made her realize how good she had it with you. That Carter was fun and exciting until he wasn't. Until she needed someone stable and realized he was a mess. She said she wished she could go back and make different choices. Good for her. It changes nothing. I know. I'm not asking you to forgive her or Carter or even to really forgive us. I'm just saying that now I understand. You weren't being petty or resentful or holding a grudge. You were hurt, and we made it so much worse. We made the people who hurt you more important than you. And that was just wrong." We talked for another hour. She told me about moving in with her boyfriend, about the fear she felt being financially on her own, about how she finally understood why I had always been so serious about money and responsibility, how she now regretted all the times she rolled her eyes when I talked about investments, retirement accounts, and financial planning. It didn't fix everything, but it was a start. Comment: "Hey everyone. I think the biggest takeaway from this story isn't about revenge, but about profound self-respect. It teaches us that sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones necessary to protect our peace and our self-worth. Setting firm boundaries isn't about punishing others, but about teaching them how we deserve to be treated. Ultimately, true strength lies in choosing yourself, especially when it's the hardest choice to make." If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.